Good morning, class.
Good morning, sir.
Okay. Before we start our lesson for today, would you mind to lead the prayer of your events?
Dear God, thank you for this wonderful day. May you continue to guide us and bless us. Amen.
Okay. Who's absent today?
Nancy.
Very good. Anyway, last meeting we have discussed about race identification and race, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Just a short review. What is again hazard, Juliet?
Sir, hazard used to describe something that has potential to cause harm, while risk is the chance or probability that a person will be harmed.
Yes. It is a potential to cause harm to everything. When risk is the probability of a person will be harmed. Okay. So moving on to our new lesson for today, I have prepared a video, and please observe and think of about the video because later I will be asking a question. Okay.
Yes, sir.
People cause accidents. To be more exact, people not paying attention or doing something that they shouldn't be doing causes accidents. To put it another way, accidents result from varying degrees of carelessness, sloppiness, negligence, inattention, neglect, and ignorance. Accidents also happen where two things are found: unsafe acts and unsafe conditions. Unsafe conditions occur when there is a failure to identify, control, remediate, or train properly against a hazard. Even though there can be multiple human causes, accident investigations will always identify the human failure to correct the hazard. Some unsafe conditions are easy to spot. Finding others needs a closer inspection. For example, liquid on a walking surface is an unsafe condition, but you won't see it if you aren't looking where you are stepping. People create the majority of unsafe conditions. Mother Nature can create conditions, but she gives us plenty of warning signs. If it's cold and wet, or raining or snowing, we should be aware of walking hazards. No matter what nature is up to, we can be aware of it and guard against it. However, unsafe conditions created by people are often harder to find. Overloaded circuits, unguarded machinery, unchained cylinders, altered safeties, blocked fire extinguishers, blocked exits, curled up edges of mats or carpets, spills, poor lighting, unsanitary conditions, speeding, damaged tools, and inappropriately stored chemicals like solvents and gasoline, and poor housekeeping are all examples of unsafe conditions created by people. If you see an unsafe condition and ignore it, you just made it more likely that someone will fall victim, perhaps even yourself. Unsafe acts create unsafe conditions. Unsafe acts are things like failing to properly do a job, failing to see hazards, or taking unneeded risks. For example, speeding up to make the yellow light, using tools in wrong ways, or using damaged or defective tools, not using proper personal protective equipment, ignoring the safety data sheet for chemicals you are using, or deliberately violating safety rules and procedures. How many unsafe acts can you spot today? Which ones are you doing? The worst kind of unsafe act is deliberately creating an unsafe condition. Have you done anything to make the job more risky for you or for others? Although it is difficult to foresee every condition or potential hazard, it's hard.
Okay. Based on the video, what do you think is the video all about, Juliet?
Sir, the video is all about the effect of hazard in the workplace.
Yes, very good. So how can this hazard can be harmed and how risk is possible in the workplace?
Sir, we can say that the hazard can harm and risk is possible by accepting the aspect of the cost of it.
Yes, by evaluating the aspect of cost of it. Yes, very good. And for that brilliant idea, before we proceed to our lesson, I have prepared a short warm-up exercise, and would you mind to try to answer so that I can determine how far you know about controlling hazard. Just write the fact if the statement is true and blank if the statement is wrong, okay? Just raise your hand if you're done and if you're ready to check. Okay, here it is. For number one, employees should never act on recommended safety measures. It's like a proper of that. Yes. Number two, the poison of OSH standard by state is an exercise of the police power. Okay. Not all establishment, workplaces, and other undertakings are covered by OSH. Okay. Employers should not act on recommended safety measures. Stress often leads to negative physical and psychological effects. Yes. The OSH eliminates or reduces health hazards in the workplace. Yes. Physical working condition as noise and temperature will not resolve stress. Workers, employees should assist government agencies in the conduct of safety and inspection. Okay. Personal protective equipment is not a part of health and safety at work. Yes. Adverse health effects are more frequent and severe when exposure occurs during childhood. Okay. This is only a short review, and from that exercises, I hope you have an idea, and to broaden your understanding, let's discuss the occupational safety and health standard in the Philippines. Would you like to read the first slide?
Philippine Occupational Hazard (OSH) are mandatory rules and standards set and enforced to eliminate or reduce occupational safety and health hazard in the workplace. It aims to provide at least the minimum degree of protection that must be afforded to every worker in relation to the working condition and danger that may arise by reason of occupation. All establishment, workplace, and others undertaking are covered, including agricultural enterprises, whether operating for profit or not exempt.
Yes, OSH is just like an association that gives safety and health awareness to those person working in different establishment or places. Like for example, residential places exclusively devoted to dwelling purposes. There are certain safety measures provided by the government in the residential places. Although number two, those directly engaged in land, sea, and air transportation except their dry deckers, there are channels and maintenance and repair shop and offices. There are also certain measures engaged in the areas. Number three, the activities of leases regarding the safety of the mining claim or lease, including mine safety, mineral conservation, and pollution establishment or workplaces falling under mining industry. Yes. Also in the mining industry, there are certain safety measures provided by the government in the safety of the workers. Okay?
Yes.
Duties of the employers and employees in relation to enforcement and compliance with occupational safety hazards is standard in the workplace. Number one, they said that adopt administrative policies on safety in accordance with the provision of the standard. They should to follow what is being written or what is said by the law about the safety standard. So every industry or company should adopt administrative policies. So it is not being made by themselves, but it is made by the government, so they should follow. For number two, report to the director or his duly authorized once in every 3 months on safety performance, safety committee meetings, and each recommendation and measures taken to implement the recommendation. That's why in every industry or company, there is what we call supervisors or directors who's reporting at least every 3 months, maybe to the head of the office or maybe the president or either. So the recommendations will be provided if there is something shortage or lacking in the safety measures in the industry. For number 3, act on recommended measures. Okay, act on recommended measures. So employees and employer should be aware with this. They should follow the recommended measures for all their safeties. And for number 4, provide access to appropriate authorities. So in some reason that there are certain cause of accident, they should go with that proper or right government agencies as well, so that safety measures will be addressed. Okay. And the following are responsibilities of the employer, mainly stem for legislation such as the Health and Safety in the Work, etc., Act of 1974. And this is very important in managing health and safety at work. This includes, can you read number 1?
Management of health and safety at work relation.
Yeah. Okay. Management of health and safety at work regulation. This should be everybody's concern. Of course, if you are working, you should not take the risk if you're not gonna be threatened. So you must to focus on health and safety at work first. For number 2, control of substances hazardous to health regulation. Of course, working in a chemical company, you should be aware also of the hazardous to health regulation. If it's hazardous, so you need to report to the proper office of the government so that it will be addressed that hazardous chemicals can harm your health. For number 3, personal protective equipment at work regulating and various others. This is commonly given to workers, especially on those chemical factories, because chemicals are very hazardous. So PPE. And kindly read.
Effect of hazard in the workplace. The effect that occupation may have on the worker's health independent on the exposure. Expressed quantitatively to relevant agents and cost factors.
Yes, if we say quantitatively, we talk about the numbers. So if it's a lot of employees or workers are being affected, it should be addressed. Not only one, but a large number. And this one, health may be harmed by occupational exposures in many different ways, and practically any organ system can be affected, of course. If you've been exposed or suffocated with those chemicals, of course your organ system will be affected. Some examples follow, starting with the lungs and skin. The organs of first contact for most chemicals, occupational exposures, asthma. And then the image shows hospital radiographer loading film processing chemicals through a closed system. Since emanation of sulfur dioxide or glutaraldehyde can cause asthmatic symptoms. Other causes of asthma may include flour or other agents in bakeries, or dioxyanides in twin pop spray painting, allergic alveolitis, farmer's lung from fungal spores, pneumonosis, silicosis caused by inhaling quartz, cancer from asbestos inhalation. So from this, we connection to our subject, wedding pastry. Flour is also a good factor in causing asthma. So should be bakers or working in the bakery should be use also PPE, for example, the face mask. It's very important so that they will not inhale flour, because flour can inhibit asthma symptoms. Okay?
Yes.
And the following also are the causes: mucoskeletal and mental, peripheral neuropathy caused by lead or exhale, nerve diseases induced by noise. Okay, even noise can induce the nerve disease or nerve dizziness, I should say. Mental ill health caused by stress or by chemical exposure such as mercury. And then blood marrow. This is very common anemia caused by lead, which is may impair with synthesis of the normal hemoglobin. Aplastic anemia may cause by high exposure to benzene. This is an anemia related to the following next: leukemia, a cancer of certain white blood cell caused by benzene. This is commonly known as cancer of the blood. Are you aware of it? Leukemia?
Yes.
Okay. Genitourinary and endocrine. This is the effects. Kidney damage caused by some solvent exposure or by cadmium. Bladder cancer example given caused by beta nactylamine or compounds of similar structures, generally aromatic with aromatic group in the para position to the amine. Infertility caused by some chemical exposure, example, male infertility caused by DBCP or dibromochloropropanine. A range of chemicals have been implicated in the potential for endocrine disruption and or effect on reproduction on such as phthalates, glycol ethers, and organophosphates. And for the liver hepatitis, this is also very common. Example, toxic from some chemicals or viral healthcare works. And then also cancer, example, vinyl chloride, tumor causing angiosarcoma. And would you mind to read the next slide?
Workplace stress. Stress can be associated with severe physical and or physiological effects, such as sleep disorders, fatigue, chronic aches and pains, depression, changes in sexual activity, conflict with family, friends, and co-workers, greater gain or weight loss, greater susceptibility to injury, immune system depression, and greater vulnerability to illness and disease.
Okay. Those are factors of workplace stress. And you know stress can create illness. Therefore, if you have more example that because of this we get these are what we call hazards, and if you are suffering from development depression, what is the risk? You can be developmental illness as well. Some stress also causes gain weight because some focusing on more on eating. That's why they gain weight. This is all cause of work stress. And because of lack of sleep, they also suffer immune system depression. And this is very main factor. That's why our body is creating some illnesses because our immune system got down. Okay. This is a serious health and safety hazard that can have devastating effects. Stress occurs where there is a poor match between workplace demands and workers' degree of control. If you see that when there is a poor match between workplace demands and workers' degree of control, it is just like working overtime. You don't have enough your lack of rest that may cause stress also. As a result of demands that are placed upon mind and body, where employees are exposed to staff shortages, harassment, bullying, noise, and other hazards. Yes, for example, a company has a lot of orders, and then you need to produce the quota. You need to work overtime, and then the other hand is the lack of staff. So, for example, a job that can be done by maybe hundreds and only done by 50, so it's tiring, and that's may cause stress. Another one is stress is largely caused by poor work organization factors such as lack of control and conflicting work demands. Yes. Especially if you're not, if you are, for example, you're working in a company and you are not fit with that job, and then because of lack of employee, they're gonna put you there to fill up the position, and you're not fit. It will also cause stress. Number two, lack of decision making participation. Number three, lack of training and direction and clear work responsibilities. Number four, privatization, outsourcing, downsizing, merges, staff cutbacks, and restructuring, and overwork and poor work shift includes, yes. For example, there are certain issues in the economy and there are cut off. There are many layoffs, so employees be not fit with the amount of work. They just double their time so that they finish all the job. That also causes stress. Can you read the next slide? What is cutbacks?
Cutbacks, privatization, and downsizing have contributed to a heightened sense of job insecurity. All of these factors cause or compound workplace stress. The generalized stress response in the phrase used to describe a variety of physical reaction to stress.
Okay, stop. Number one is what we call cutbacks. Number one is increased metabolism. Number two, blood pressure. Number three, cholesterol and fatty acid in the bloodstream. Decreased protein synthesis. Number four, faster blood clotting, increased production of stomach acid, blood sugar, energy. Localized inflammation, send up muscles, and sweating to cool muscles. Those are cause of stress. Because if your mind is not at rest sometimes, it causes stress cells. And those stress cells create illnesses, and those are the hazard, the harms or the hazards causing by those stress cells. And the next slide is stress affects the physical and psychological health of a person, but also feels out of the workplace negatively affecting members' family lives. The cumulative effects of stress can be devastating. Of course, if you're stressed physically, you're not good aura. Maybe your eyes deepen or having black sheet at the one side. Psychologically, you cannot think well. So you are hatred, you're irritated. That's why it also affect the relationship between the family members. Because after work, you're gonna go home, you're gonna face problem, you cannot go with it, and you feel hatred. Major outcomes of stress are psychological disease and social behavioral changes. Just what I've said. Depression, anxiety, heart disease, biopsychological outcomes, etc. Number two is personal and family life conflict. Yes. You cannot handle the family well because you're too much stressed. Number three, work-related musculoskeletal disorder, overthinking can cause musculoskeletal disorder, headaches, and so on. Burnout. Number four, synergetic, combined effects of stress and other disease. So in times that stress is coming through, it will create complicated illnesses. So avoid the stress. And number four is, last is critical incident stress. Okay? If you understand our lesson, please answer the following exercises so that I can know if you really understand the discussion. Okay, are you done?
Yes.
Okay, for number one, it says the health and safety at work is very important responsibility of employer. Is it fact or bluff?
Bluff.
Bluff. The health. It should be, it's not only the employer but also the employees. Number two, sickness or injury may arise by reason of occupation. Fact. Of course, overwork can cause sickness. Number three, the employee is not held responsible for safety rules. Yes. All establishment, workplaces, and undertakings are observed by the OSH. Okay. Number five, the intention of OSH is promoting the welfare of well-being of workers. Yes. Okay. Since you understand the lesson, I have preferred questions so that I can notice if you're learning or listening or understanding. What is the importance of occupational safety hazards standards or what we call the OSH? What is the importance?
Sir, OSH are mandatory rules and standards set and enforced to eliminate or reduce occupational safety and health hazard in the workplace.
Yes, they are the one providing safety health awareness to those workers in the workplace. And employees in the is also to enforce the OSH standards in the workplace. Okay. So why is that both duties of employees and employers? the enforcement of OSH standards in the workplace. Why is that? They are both duties of the employers and the employees. For what reason?
Sir, because employees and employers need to work hand in hand in terms of safety in the workplace.
Yes, because being employer, you need to care your employees, and also the employees, before they care their work, they should care themselves too. Okay, because working in the in cases, you think personal safety, because your family needs you, life is precious, and that's so on.
Yes.
Okay, for your next activity, direction. View a film hazard and risk after viewing the film on hazards and risks. Since you already been viewed a film, you just this is a survey. You just check if you are disagree, strongly agree, and strongly agree. For example, number one, my health is very important to me. Are you disagree? Okay, you just put in your paper for number one, and the rest. I will give you 3 minutes to finish the task. Are you done?
Yes.
Okay. I will just check later and I will give it back to you. So, for your assignment, make an advanced reading on the hot control hazard and risk. Okay.
Yes.
This will be discussed the next meeting. And that's all for today, Julie Beth. Goodbye.
Goodbye, sir.